How's it going, everyone? Got quite a lot to talk about in this video. Looks like we got a little bit of a rumored date for this state of play, and like I think most people had expected, it looks to be happening right before the PlayStation 5 Pro pre-orders go live, and obviously there's been a lot of discussion about the Pro in general, a lot of debate, so on and so forth. We're not going to talk too much about that. We've talked about it ad nauseum, but we'll talk about the state of play as Jeff Grubb has a tentative date that he has put out. Jeff Grubb noted that there is a state of play that looks to be coming. When he recorded and put out the video on his podcast, he noted 12 days that would align with Tuesday, September the 24th, which makes all the sense in the world, 48 hours before the PlayStation 5 Pro pre-orders go live. Now, he reiterated that this is to be a state of play event, not a showcase. It seems like there's different expectation levels attached to both events, as, you know, we've generally seen. I think that's why generally everyone, or most people, unless you were just an adamant Sony bootlicker, and a PlayStation bootlicker, that last year's showcase was incredibly underwhelming and legitimately one of the worst shows that I've ever seen Sony put out. It was that garbage of a show. I would rather them promote it as a state of play, set expectations low, and then if you have some big stuff to reveal, since we're going in with relatively low expectations, maybe you will overachieve. I feel like that's happened with a couple of the state of plays this year, especially the one that had the big Stellar Blade showcase. I feel like they did a really good job with that. But if you're going to be dropping the PS5 Pro, and this is, you know, talking about the Pro a little bit, the issue I think a lot of people had with the PS5 Pro reveal is, oh, would you look at that? We're promoting PS4 games to tell you why you should buy the PS5 Pro. I mean, I feel like at this point, everybody is in agreement that this is one of the worst generations that PlayStation has ever done. And it's for a lot of the reasons that people like myself have been pointing out for years at this point. For years, or at the very least north of a year, we've been talking about things such as the push to live service gaming, and I personally thought the whole time it wasn't going to turn out well, and it's going to stump the game development cycle of a lot of these developers and publishers and ultimately hurt first party. Concord, a bunch of years wasted, nothing to show for, and it's a wasted first party release. There was a time where first party PlayStation, when they are dropping a game of any kind, you are excited for it, and resources that they put towards Concord could have been allocated somewhere else. Ultimately, it is what it is, and that was a waste. Fair Game, I think, ultimately will be a waste, and you can tell me that I'm being overly negative, but that's what I feel. It's another live service game. It's generally how I felt about Concord when we got that CG trailer. It's how the cookie crumbles. These are not the titles that people want out of PlayStation, and the fact is, you're revealing the PS5 Pro at $700 without a disc drive, and then you have no games to show for it, and it's these two things coupled together. And I've said in previous videos that, you know, the PlayStation 5 Pro can exist. The reasoning for it to exist can be comprehended. It can be something that can offer quality. However, two things can be true. Two things can be true. The PS5 Pro can exist and can offer added performance, and there will be an audience that wants it. The other element that is true is that PlayStation's first-party output has been a pile of dog crap. I don't know how you could articulate it any other way. It's been abysmal when you look at PlayStation and the standard that has been set, and that's why I am so critical of them, because I know they're capable of way better. And you also couple in the push to live service with the added element of these game development cycles are getting so lengthy. 5 to 7 years to get a game out is just ridiculous. Will we get Ghost of Tsushima 2 or whatever it's called next year? Next year will mark the 5-year timeline since Ghost of Tsushima 1 has come out. Naughty Dog, we're talking about things like them not even putting out a game this generation, and obviously that was stunted by the work on Last of Us Factions. Guerrilla is still going to be working on Horizon 3, but that's going to be a long ways away. You've got studios like Bluepoint out there, Bend Studio. Do they have something that they can showcase? And that would be rather interesting. I mean, Bluepoint dropped Demon's Souls 4 years ago. It's been quite a while. You would expect their project is pretty far along, and if it's not ready to come out in 2025, well, then you're talking about a 6-year turnaround time for Bluepoint if we're talking a 2026 title. You're talking, if Bend Studio's game isn't out next year, Bend Studio dropped Days Gone in early 2019, you guys. It's already been well over 5 years. If it's not dropping in 2025 and it's a 2026 game, then you're talking about a 7-year turnaround for Bend Studio to get out a new game. These game development cycles, because of the scale of these games, and that's what Astrobot's developer talked about, has just gotten so insane, and maybe that's the standard to be expected. And I saw the pushback that Astrobot got with, this game doesn't have a lot of content. Well, if you want a lot of content out of your games and you want 80 hours or whatever, it's going to take longer and longer. It's an unfortunate reality, because I would argue the PlayStation 3 era of games are just as good as the PlayStation 5 era of games, and we were getting way more of them. Look at Sony's output and the PlayStation output in 2009, 2010, and 2011. And then look at it now. It's just a daunting task. And if you're talking about the PS5 Pros coming out, look, if they don't reveal any new games at this state of play, or at the very least by the end of the year at the Video Game Awards, then 2025, from a first-party outlook, looking just as bleak as 2024, looking just as bleak as 2023. At the very least, 2023, we had one game in Spider-Man 2. 2025, I feel like we will get one game. There's the rumor of the Insomniac standalone expansion-style game, and then there's also, you know, hopefully, Sucker Punch will put out Ghost of Tsushima. That is what I am holding out hope for, because that's an established IP. People are excited for it, but it's gonna be something that they gotta reveal soon here, because if it's a 2025 game, Sony's not the type to reveal games 6 months before they come out, unless it's a remaster or a smaller scale project like an Astrobot. But if you're talking about releasing a game in 2025, it's gotta get announced soon, and that's why the PlayStation 5 Pro being revealed, from an optics standpoint, the regular person just looking at it and being like, yo, the PS5 Pro is coming out at $700, and Sony's literally putting out no games, no big budget titles that people are excited for, at least not at the consistency level that we're used to. From an optics standpoint, that just looks awful, and that is how most people are gonna perceive it. It's just optics when that's considered. Yes, the hardware team is entirely different than the software development team, but a lot of people aren't gonna assess it like that. They're just gonna look at it from an optics standpoint. Sony and PlayStation is one entity, and they just assess them as they're releasing a $700 console with no games to show for it. That's how most people's minds are gonna be wired. Even when I do look at the PS5 Pro, hey, if it could take advantage of the developers and publishers that are actually putting out games regularly, the third parties like the FF7 Rebirth, which looks like that's gonna be head and shoulders above the original release, which is incredible, and I think for a lot of people, that's not a reason to drop $700, but they'll be looking at that and being like, whoa, that is a big leap, and nobody's dropping $700 for one game improvement. You gotta look at all of the improvements coming, but they really gotta announce something first party. I get that we got Death Stranding 2. I get that hopefully Insomniac's gonna drop something, but we really need to get an announcement, and I thought it would have been a great idea to couple the PlayStation 5 Pro. What better way to showcase that console than announcing a game alongside with it and be like, hey, you get to play Tsushima 2 next year, or whatever it's called, on the PS5 Pro if you get it, and it's gonna look and run like this. That would have gotten people excited, and the announcement of Tsushima 2 would have been just as big as the PS5 Pro, and at least you would have built some positive goodwill as far as that's concerned. I don't think it was the best idea, and I think most people would agree, to just showcase a bunch of PS4 games, or, you know, the main game that they showcased was Last of Us Part 2. I just thought Tsushima 2 being revealed would have made a lot of sense, or at the very least, some upcoming games like a Death Stranding 2 even, running on it, and obviously those games are still in development. They're probably not optimized as much as they can be, but I feel like you could have gotten a gameplay demo ready. But nonetheless, going on a diatribe about the PS5 Pro now that I said I wouldn't, but this state of play, whenever it happens, or at the very least by the end of the year at the Video Game Awards, they really gotta announce something first party. But I've said it again and again, and now people are starting to bring up this point. When I've been saying this for quite a while now, this is what happens when you aren't pressured, when you have no competition, and you can do whatever the hell you want. Why would Sony release their console at a loss, or they would sell their console at a loss? Yeah, there was a time and a place where you had to be competitive with your competitor. That day is over. Unless Xbox does something drastic, that day is over where they have to be as competitive and they can sell their console at a premium. And for them, it's gonna be a gauge on what they can price the PS6 at. Are they gonna sell it at a loss, or do they see people excited for the PS5 Pro? And ultimately, the online rhetoric is going to be the online rhetoric. I want to see sales numbers. I want to see how this thing performs, and I got a feeling based on the disk drive selling out, and yes, people are saying it's scalpers, I truly believe the PS5 Pro is going to be sold out on the first day. That is my opinion. I might be wrong, but hopefully they have some games to go with it. I think if they reveal a major first-party title, a Tsushima 2, 100% the PS5 Pro is going to be selling out day one, especially if you outline that, hey, Tsushima 2 is going to really take advantage of the Pro, and it's going to look fantastic. Then that's a wrap. It'll sell out, and I'm pretty confident in my line of thinking as far as how the PS5 Pro is going to do commercially. I think this thought process of it's only that the online community is crapping on it and nobody wants it, yeah, it's going to be something that is a premium console that only 10% of the audience wants, but I think it's going to sell out very, very quickly. But that's going to do it for me. Hopefully this state of play is good. It would be great to get something like a Tsushima 2, a major first-party announcement, and along with that, like something a little bit surprising. Like if they drop like a Ratchet Future Collection and a Tsushima 2, bro, we'd be cooking. That'd be a 10 out of 10 show. That's all I need. My expectations out of Sony have gotten so low at this point, even though I know that they're capable of better. It's gonna take time for them to course correct, but my expectations for now are just in the ground, in the toilet, that something like one first-party game getting announced and something like a collection, that'd be enough for me, and I'll take what I can get out of Sony, because these days we're not getting much of anything. But that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.